Hi there, and welcome back to the HQ. Today, we are going to be reacting to the Russian Revolution, Oversimplified, Part 1. Now, the last time we watched them Oversimplified, we watched the French Revolution, and we saw how that got really out of hand. So, before we jump into the Napoleonic Wars, let's see if a different revolution goes any better for the Russians. Spoiler alert, given we have kind of seen how this turned out in the Cold War, I'm gonna guess it doesn't go all that great for them. So let's just jump right in and see how the Russian Revolution played out.
This video was made possible by NordVPN. Click on the link in the description below to get an amazing 68% off a 2-year plan.
68%
commemorating
off.
the weirdest bromance in history. Get your new character pins and Russian Revolution.
The last czar of
available
Russia,
now.
crazily
Link
homeless
down
wizard
below.
guy.
Hey Jimmy, it's the 1800s, an exciting time to be alive. Why don't you
Is
get
it?
out there and explore the world?
Is it that
whiz, Mom.
exciting?
Thanks. This place is amazing. Where am I? Why, you're in France, my boy.
Oh,
Here we come
the
up with wacky new
France.
ways of running a country. Liberty, equality, fraternity. Whoa, welcome to the
Wacky.
United Kingdom. Here we invented the train.
The choo-choo.
Aboard. Holy smokes! You're in a German factory, my friend. Here we harness fire and coal to create all these sexy lederhosen. This is incredible. I can't wait to see where I'll end up next.
Uh-oh.
Where am I? You're in Russia. Have I gone back in time?
Rip.
This is just how it is. Are you a farmer? Worse. Technically, my landlord owns me, which makes me a serf.
Oh.
I'm scared.
Well,
You should be,
shit.
because I haven't eaten in 4 days, and you
Uh-oh.
look pretty tasty.
Oh,
Hey,
no.
Jimmy, how are your travels?
Oh, no.
You.
Oh, no. That's already
Russia
not
in the
boding
19th
well.
Century. Feudal, underdeveloped, and stuck in the past. While the rest of Europe had been modernizing and improving their citizens' lives, Russia's rulers were taking a different approach. My lord, we're falling behind the rest of Europe. It's time to industrialize. Give the
How do you rule a country that large? Like, geographically speaking, larger than the entire rest of Europe. And you don't even bother trying to modernize. Like, bruh. That doesn't sound like a smart way to run things.
people rights and share your power.
Oh,
Russian czars had no time
Okay.
for pathetic ideas like liberty and modernization because they were too busy having the time of their lives. While
oh,
the serfs
okay.
were breaking
This sounds familiar. This sounds very familiar.
their backs in the fields, the czars held all the power, and they didn't have to listen.
Good
to
old
anyone.
autocracy.
Want to run the country like a backwards feudal kingdom while the rest of Europe outpaces you militarily and economically? Go right ahead. Want to keep the people uneducated so they don't get any ideas? There's no one to stop you. Want to keep exporting
the
grain even when
people.
there's a massive famine causing hundreds of thousands to die? That is your God-given right. While all of this was great for the Tsar, if you were literally anybody
Of
else,
course.
it probably sucked because Russia was falling behind. If they were to keep up
God,
with Europe,
Russia's
they'd need a
doing this
strong
in the
ruler with some
1800s.
big ideas. Oh,
The
look,
kind of stuff
here
that
comes one
France
now.
was doing in the
Hey, everyone,
1700s.
it's me, Tsar Alexander II, and I've got some big news. I'm
Oh.
releasing you all from your serfdom. You're all free.
Okay. You know, that's a step.
Yep, I'm the best. Oh, there is one thing though. I spoke
Oh?
to your local lords and they weren't happy about losing all their free labor. So as a compromise, you're all gonna have to pay them back a near impossible amount of money for the next 49 years. Expect your lives to barely change. Okay, bye.
So they went from being slaves to being in crippling debt. Yeah, okay.
Now I know what you're thinking. This Tsar Alexander II seems like a pretty cool guy. He's trying to reform the country.
I
and
don't
get
think
Russia
so.
On the right path. Everyone must love this guy, right? Wrong. Why does one man get to decide the fate of everyone in the country? This whole system is dumb.
This scene
Somebody
looks
should do
very
something.
familiar.
Like what? Like kill the Tsar? You're gonna kill the Tsar? Well, me? No.
No.
I'm busy. I was
Obviously.
kind of hoping you'd.
Somebody should do it, but not me.
Okay. See?
Oh.
The people love me. They're throwing flowers, confetti, and high-grade explosives.
Oh,
Okay, Nicholas, your grandfather has a mild case of being blown up by a terrorist, and he's not looking
Well,
too hot,
shit.
So we're gonna go say our goodbyes, okay? No, it'll be too scary for him. Nonsense, it won't be scary at all.
It
We're
won't
just
be
gonna say
scary
a
at
quick
all?
Goodbye. Ready?
oh,
Boy, look at me. The people did this to me, and one day, they'll do it to you! See? Wasn't scary at all. So Alexander II was dead, but luckily
Oh,
they had another
no.
Alexander lying around, Alexander III, and he felt his dad's
Naturally.
reforms had weakened the Tsar's authority. Russia was massive, and as a result, had many ethnic minorities. Non-Russians? More interested in their own cultural heritage than in loving me? Isn't it great? So much beautiful culture and diversity in our great nation. Alexander thought all these
Bazooka
minorities would be
immediately.
a little more Russian, and thereby loyal to him. So he repressed religious
Yeah. All these flourishing minority groups make them immediately depressed.
minorities. He repressed non-Russians. He introduced the Okhrana, a secret police force that repressed anybody who thought having a czar was dumb. If Alexander II was the great reformer, Alexander III was the great repressor. Now that's how you run a country. Hey, Dad?
Right into the ground,
Right.
I'd say.
It's my son Nicholas, who I like to call a girly girl because he's so weak and pathetic. When are you gonna grow up?
Wow.
You still look like a girly girl to me. But Dad, I grew a beard. Yeah,
He
an
grew up
ugly
real quick.
Girly girl beard. If
A
Nicholas was
girly
to
girl
want to be the
beard?
Tsar, he needed his dad to teach him how to run the country. But his dad instead suggested that Nicholas
How?
go somewhere else. So Nicholas went to Japan, got an edgy dragon tattoo, had his head sliced off by a policeman, and then came home. Now will you teach me how to rule? I suppose it's time. Okay.
He got a dragon tattoo? True story? Something tells me it's not exactly a true story.
Okay, there's a lot you need to know before becoming Tsar. Uh-oh.
Yeah? Uh-oh.
What?
Case of...
I've got kidney inflammation.
Oh.
Oh, no.
Oh.
On his father's death, a totally unprepared
Oh,
Nicholas
great.
II ascended to the Russian throne. He wasn't a reformer
Very
like his
great.
grandfather, nor was he a repressor like his dad.
He was
Nicholas
middle of the
Nicholas.
road.
Timid, easily swayed, and more interested in doing whatever the hell this is. Or this. Or this. He wasn't ready to rule, and he himself admitted it, saying,
Okay.
I'm not yet ready to be Tsar. I know nothing of the business of ruling. Bit of an awkward time to bring it up. However, Nicholas firmly believed that he was chosen by God to be Russia's big daddy. And while he doubted his ability to rule, he was going to give it his best shot. And hey, who knows? Maybe
Of
he
course.
wouldn't be so bad
He's
after
always
all.
the chosen
To get things
person.
off to a good start, Nicholas promised free pretzels and beer to a huge crowd in Moscow to celebrate his coronation. So enticing a proposition to starving peasants that
Oh,
the
that
ensuing
just
stampede
sounds...
left nearly
Oh.
1,500 people dead.
1,500 people
The
dead.
ensuing stampede left nearly 1,500.
I'm not going to try to pronounce that, but Jesus. Like, who thought it'd be a smart idea to just, like, invite just everybody over? And just, like, with the enticement of, like, beer and food. And you didn't expect some kind of crush situation? I mean, then again, this was, like, late 19th century, so people clearly aren't smart enough to, like, be dealing with this. Jesus Christ.
People dead. What the hell happened? We're not sure, but you're scheduled to go party with the French at 8 o'clock. Shouldn't I stay here out of respect for the people?
You
None
should.
of Russian czars ever respected the people. Nicholas's decision to go party with the French immediately tarnished his image. Some
Yeah,
were calling
that's a
him
very
Nicholas
bad
the
idea.
Bloody. The czars had been partying hard at the
That
expense of the people for
immediately,
long
I can
enough.
see why
They'd
people
emancipated the serfs,
will
but failed
want
lift them out of
to,
poverty. They used
will
their
want to
secret
get
police to crack down on anyone who
get rid
had
of the
criticized
czar.
them, and they'd failed to modernize and give the people rights, something the rest of Europe had begun doing over a century ago. The rule of the czars was quickly becoming outdated, and more Russians began wondering if there was a better way. For many,
Very
the
understandable.
solution was simple. Just look to the West. Republics, democracies, and constitutional monarchies galore. But a small growing
A lot
group
of those,
rejected
yeah.
that for an even better idea. A little
Oh.
something they called communism. Take Vladimir Lenin,
Oh,
an intelligent
yep.
member of Russia's
There it
middle
is.
class, and also a massive ill-tempered jerk. If you disagreed with him about anything, he wasn't afraid to call you out. You fat-headed, simple-minded, vapid, cockeyed imbecile! Tenderheart Bear is a far superior Care Bear to Bedtime Bear. And he was no
Now
stranger
that's
to
an
plenty
argument
of
I can
unrest
get
either.
behind.
His older brother was executed for plotting to kill the Tsar, and
Oh.
Lenin himself was expelled from university for participating in a student protest. But how did Lenin go from being a middle-class nerd to the arbiter of socialist divinity? Well, to tell that story, we first need to go back a few decades
Oh.
to when a man named Karl Marx wrote a
Yep.
manifesto explaining how capitalism is a system whereby the stinky bourgeoisie
Good old
oppress and
Karl
exploit
Marx.
the working masses, and that only through class warfare could the workers rise up and instate a communist utopia. Now go back forward a few decades to Lenin reading that manifesto. and loving it. But publicly admitting you loved Marx and not Russia's big daddy would get you the cruelest punishment imaginable.
Oh.
Exile to Siberia. In
Oh,
exile,
God.
where you'll live with your wife, chill around town, and secretly write socialist newspapers. Hey, that doesn't sound so bad.
Yeah, because God damn. Getting exiled to fucking Siberia because you don't want to, because you don't fuck with the Tsar. That does sound awful.
And your mother-in-law is going to live with you.
Uh-oh.
No! Once Lenin finished his stint in Siberia, he left Russia for Europe, where he was free to hang out with other Russian Marxists and talk about how great communism was. Now today, you might hear the word communism.
I'm sure the
and think of
Europeans
this.
were really cool with that.
But that's not how intellectuals living under a tough czarist regime saw it. To them, communism promised a land where all were equal, where workers weren't exploited, and even people like you could get a girlfriend. So Lenin joined a party of Russian communists living in Europe, and he founded a communist newspaper
That's
that
mean.
was smuggled into Russia to try to radicalize the people. However, not everyone in the Socialist Party agreed with Lenin. In fact, they disagreed with him on a lot of issues.
Oh?
Lenin was so uncompromising that he caused a split in the party. During one conference, a heated
Oh.
debate broke out, and Lenin was unwilling to give an inch. You
What,
ignorant, half-witted,
what kind of
fatuous
argument
morons!
was he having?
Cereal is a soup.
Okay. Okay, so but technically, if we're being technical, if we're being really technical about this, it entirely depends on the context of eating the soup. If you're of eating the cereal, if you were eating the cereal raw, or as like a grain or a trail mix, then no, it's a trail mix. If you were eating it in milk, then technically it is a soup. Also, you have a good one, Portal. You have a good one at work, okay? But yeah, what you consider cereal to be entirely depends on the context of how you eat it.
Listen, Lenin, you're a smart guy, but you have no idea what you're talking about. We're out of here. All in favor of cereal being a soup? Hey, would you look at that? We're in the majority. So Lenin
It
set up
seems
his own
so.
faction within the party he called the majority, or Bolshevik if you're speaking Russian. And the other faction became known as the minority, or Menshevik. And oddly, the majority were often in the minority, and the minority in the majority. The Mensheviks were less radical. whereas
Very
Lenin
funny.
wanted the Bolsheviks to be loyal to him and his uncompromising ideas. And if you weren't loyal, well then you're gonna get a big brain beatdown. Mensheviks worried that Lenin's attitude could lead
Well, that's
to a
not
one-man
good.
dictatorship. But come on, does this guy look like a dictator to you?
Kind of.
For now, Lenin remained in Europe, writing his socialist newspaper and impatiently awaiting an opportunity to overthrow the Tsar and bring communist utopia to Russia. Cool. A free hat.
Uh-oh, that's not a
Who
fire.
the heck are you? I'm definitely not a Russian secret police officer spying on Marxists.
Oh.
Crap, I don't want secret police watching me. Then you, my friend, should use NordVPN. Do you like having your identity stolen? If yes, you need therapy. If no, you need NordVPN.
Yeah,
NordVPN
the NordVPN will certainly help you hide from the secret police.
You can connect to keep you and your data secure when using the web. It comes with a 30-day money-back guarantee and is now faster and more secure than ever with its brand new NordLynx technology.
Oh.
Have you quarantine binged all of your favorite shows on Netflix? Well, with NordVPN, you can watch the Australian version. Or is one of the greatest videos on YouTube still banned in your country? I think you get the point. You can now get NordVPN.
I definitely need to
60%
invest
off
in like
the
a
2-year
VPN
plan
or
for only
something.
$371 per month. Plus 1 month free. So click on nordvpn.com/oversimplified in the description below and get protected now. That's NordVPN.
That's a real good deal.
/oversimplified. And
Y'all
as
know
always,
what to
you'll be
do.
supporting my channel. So muchos arigatos, mon petit pois.
He definitely gets a kickback
Where
from
was
this,
I?
so if you need a VPN.
Oh yeah. A timid, easily swayed czar, a massive ill-tempered jerk, impatiently awaiting a communist revolution. And
It's
revolution
probably
was
coming
but
soon.
not in the way Lenin thought. Back in St. Petersburg, one of the Tsar's most skilled and influential advisors knew the country finally needed to catch up with the rest of Europe. Hey Nick, we really got
Sergei Wheat.
Get more factories and make some, I don't know, textiles or something. Won't that change the
I mean,
social fabric of Russia? Maybe.
well-
Hey, isn't it past your bedtime?
I mean, the fact that they haven't even, at this point, the fact that we are entering the 20th century and Russia still hasn't industrialized, it's kind of nutty to me.
But I haven't had my milk and snuggles yet. Will you snuggle me? Nicholas thought modernization was boring, but he let Sergei do his thing. And do his thing he did. He borrowed some money and got Russia some sexy factories. And you know what sexy factories means. Sexy workers. Dirt poor, sexy workers. Long hours, low wages, filthy disease-ridden factories. Sleep in overcrowded dormitories with all your stinky worker friends.
You'd think with all of this massive industrialization would result in a economic boom. You know, but instead it's just them taking advantage of, like, once again, taking advantage of their population. And it's working them to the bone. Like, at this point, the more you learn about how, like, ass backwards things were in 20th century early Russia, like pre-revolutionary Russia, you really do kind of get and kind of feel like the Tsar deserved what he gets. It's like, you know, obviously the Tsar gets overthrown because it's not called the failed Russian Revolution. And we didn't have, and it's not like we didn't have the communist Soviet Union for the better part of like 80 years.
Get your arms ripped off in a freak Russian doll accident. Conditions were terrible.
Oh, dang
but this
it.
growing working class wasn't about to take it lying down. They started to do what workers do best. Strike. Despite Sergei's efforts, people in Russia still weren't happy.
That would certainly be effective.
Liberals still wanted reform, and now the workers wanted better working conditions. And the problem with being an autocrat is that when everyone's unhappy, there's only one person to blame. You. The people hate me. What do I do?
Yeah, that's very true.
Why don't we find a weak and pathetic nation to go to war with? We'll win easily, and everyone will love me again. Why don't we just try treating the people better? As luck would have it, an opportunity for war was forming in the Far East. Russia wanted to expand its sphere of influence into northern China.
Oh boy, here we go.
Japan. But Japan didn't really want
the Russo-Japanese War.
Reduce the tension. Hey man, we'll let you do your thing in Manchuria if you let us do our thing in Korea. I don't think so. We've got the largest army in the world. What do you have? I'm the Emperor of Japan. I have a giant mecha suit. Whoa. Cool. Nicholas and the boys didn't see Japan as a threat, so they felt they could push Japan around. But little did they know Japan had been rapidly militarizing, and when they launched a surprise attack on a Russian fleet at Port Arthur, everyone was shocked. Nicholas hoped it was an opportunity to win a quick war and regain the support of the people. Nobody seriously thought a puny Asian country could defeat a European superpower, and the Russian people
and then
patriotic spunk.
and then the
everyone,
and then the Russian superpower.
Hey everyone, we're losing the war. The Japanese won, an embarrassing defeat for Tsar Nicholas. Russia had enough problems, but now it had been internationally humiliated. The public were out.
How does the nation with the you have to be an incredibly inept military force to lose in military conflict against a tiny island nation like that? At the time, just how militarily and technologically was Russia behind even Japan? Goodness me.
Unrest increased. Nicholas needed snuggles now more than ever. The tension was rising rapidly, and Russia was on the verge of revolution.
Even the rats are protesting, man.
Over the edge. And that disaster would come in January 1905 from an unlikely source, a handsome Orthodox priest named Father Gapon. Father Gapon was leading workers and their families to the Winter Palace, but this wasn't some violent uprising. It was a peaceful protest. They wanted to deliver a petition to Nicholas, which simply asked for more freedom and better working conditions. The protest was actually so peaceful and respectful that the Marxists thought it was a big waste of time. Hey Nicholas, some priest is leading a peaceful protest. Says here they want to give you a petition. A peaceful petitioning priest? I better get out of here. Nicholas had actually left the Winter Palace days earlier, and in his place, they brought in a truckload of troops, ordered to stop Father Gapon from reaching the palace.
That's not good.
And long live the Tsar. Please, allow me to pass this simple petition to our dear father, Nicholas II. Good day to you too. Please, allow us to respond by opening fire. What began as a peaceful protest ended in tragedy. Imperial soldiers opened fire on the crowd. Around 200 civilians died.
Why would anybody in their right mind think that that's a good idea? Genuinely, why? Oh my God.
800 more were wounded. All they wanted was the opportunity to ask Nicholas to improve their lives. Instead, they were met with bullets. Nicholas didn't personally order the troops to fire, but as an autocrat,
absolute idiot.
The event became known as Bloody Sunday, and Nicholas's reputation plummeted. Strikes erupted across the empire. Workers' demands increased. Liberals demanded political power. Peasants demanded land. The country was
At this
out of
point,
control,
I'm surprised
and
they're
the
not just
1905
outright
revolution
demanding
had
him
begun.
to
Listen,
abdicate.
Nicholas, peasants seizing my land and murdering my family I can tolerate, but illegally chopping my wood? That's obscene. And the worse I treat my workers, the more they strike. I don't get it. Everyone relax. As long as the military is still on my side.
I got a feeling it's not going to be on your side for long. I feel like it's not going to be on your side for long, dog.
There's nothing to worry about. Sir, the sailors are starting to mutiny. Well, my life just sucks. With Russia
Yes,
still
it
losing to the
does.
Japanese, unrest was growing in the military, and some sailors had even taken to killing officers. Having the
Damn.
people against you was bad enough, but if the military joined in, it would be game over. To make
Very
matters worse,
much so.
in October, workers and Marxists, including one Leon Trotsky, began setting up local
Uh-oh.
elected councils called Soviets that coordinated strikes and
More
supplied the workers.
another
Sergei
named
could see the
fellow.
writing on the wall. Things were going south fast, and he needed a big idea to save the Tsar. And
Oh?
luckily, he had just that. You see, all these angry people from different parts of society weren't really working together, meaning there was a weakness to exploit. Sergei wrote a manifesto that would give the liberals an elected assembly
So?
called the Duma. It took some convincing, but eventually, Nicholas agreed to share power and have his laws approved by an elected assembly. Hey, liberals, here's your stupid manifesto. Happy now? We certainly are. But what about these guys? Aren't you going to give them what they want? Oh, goodness no. I was just going to kill them. With the liberals.
Bruh. So its plan, essentially, is to give one of the protesting groups, like, their demands, but ignoring the other ones, and expecting them to just, like, sow dissent amongst each other.
Satisfied, and after ending the war with Japan, the Tsar brought thousands of troops home, who then dismantled the Soviets, arrested their leaders, and crushed the peasant uprisings in the countryside. And how about that pesky parliament Nicholas had agreed to share power with? Well, he then wrote a bunch of new laws, which basically said, hey, remember that manifesto I wrote and how you guys were going to approve my laws? Slight change of plan.
Huh?
Actually, I'm going to do whatever the hell I want, and you guys are going to shut up. What? The people won't stand for this. People? What people? You know, this is why people don't like you. And just like that, Nicholas had survived the
Like-
1905 revolution. But wait, a revolution? In Russia? Where was Lenin? Well, Lenin and his communist pals were still in exile. He tried desperately to radicalize the uprising, but all he could do was watch. As the movements failed to organize, the liberals sold out the poor, and the Tsar outplayed the people.
This is why I'm just saying radicalization can be a good thing if you're fighting for, like, better treatment against, like, and this is why I'm not a fan of monarchies, by the way. I don't like monarchies. I think kings and emperors and dictatorships and autocrats, they are something that the world is infinitely better off without. Like, we just need to get rid of all of that.
Furious, he believed Russia had missed a great chance for a real revolution. From now on, he felt the only way left was an armed revolution by the workers. Watching the events of 1905 unfold, Lenin learned a lot. The Tsar, however, would prove to have learned nothing.
Of course he didn't.
After the 1905 revolution had failed, the Tsar's new top man was Pyotr Stolypin, and he had big ideas to prevent any more chaos.
Oh,
Step
really?
one,
What's that?
Reform agriculture. This'll make the peasants love you. And
Okay.
step two, we'll kill anyone who doesn't. To discourage any more revolutionary ideas,
Really?
Stolypin
You'll just
began
kill
to crack
people.
down even harder on the Tsar's opponents, and thousands were sentenced to death. The noose even earned itself a new nickname.
Jesus.
Stolypin's necktie. I don't get it.
That's a bit of a mouthful.
Oh, I see. Because it goes around my neck.
Oh.
That's so funny. But despite the oppression, many positive reforms were also being made, and the Russian economy even began to improve. This was a problem for Lenin. If the people weren't suffering, then they wouldn't support a revolution.
Oh, is he? So he's going? Is he going to sabotage things in order to get people back into a shitty situation to then radicalize them?
Still in exile and lacking funds, the Bolsheviks simply weren't in a position to do anything. Luckily, it was around this time that Lenin met an incredibly handsome Georgian with your second favorite historical mustache, Joseph Stalin.
Oh,
Lenin and
there
Stalin
he
met at the
is.
convention in Finland, and Lenin liked Stalin because he was a real go-getter and was great at fundraising for the Bolsheviks. And by fundraising, I mean kidnapping, robbing, extorting, bribing,
Jesus
ransoming,
Christ.
assassinating, prison breaking, stealing, bank raiding, executioning,
Jeez.
and stealing again. Hey, Stalin.
God
that makes
damn,
no sense about
Stalin.
all this stealing, but we still need money.
You are
So
such
the
a
next time you
piece
do
of
big
shit,
heist,
Stalin.
Just do it quietly. Okay, quietly. Got it.
Quietly, huh?
If this isn't quiet,
I don't think
I don't
that's
know what
very
is.
quiet.
Stalin's wacky antics eventually got him exiled to Siberia, but he had
Of
established
course,
himself
straight to
as a big
Siberia.
balls Bolshevik. However, no amount of Bolshevik bulls could stop what was happening. The Russian economy was making a recovery. For the Tsar, things were looking up. This is
Yeah,
great.
I'm sure
All
that's
Nicholas has
gonna.
to do is
Yeah,
sit
that's
back
gonna
and not
happen. I'm
mess
sure.
anything up. Hey everyone, big news. I'd like
Oh.
to introduce you to my new best friend. He's a crazy, drunken, beardy, horny, scandal-ridden magic wizard man, and he smells like a goat.
Oh God.
Rasputin, a dirt-poor peasant from dirt-poor nowhere. But unlike all the other
Rasputin.
dirt-poor
Oh
peasants,
God.
Rasputin had holy healing powers, and when this holy
Allegedly.
mystic wandered into St. Petersburg, people began to notice.
Allegedly.
He quickly became famous, and word of this mystery man and his healing hands made its way to the royal palace. The appearance of a holy homeless healer was of great interest to the Tsar and his wife. As far as royals go, they weren't that inbred, but they were just inbred enough for their son Alexei to get hemophilia, or in layman's terms, Mamma mia, that's a lot of blood. Knowing Rasputin could heal people, in 1906, Alexandra asked for Rasputin to come and see if he could
Maybe
cure
don't
their
marry
son.
your second
And crazy
cousin.
as it sounds, Rasputin did heal Alexei, possibly by taking him off his doctor-prescribed aspirin. Having seemingly done the impossible, Rasputin became very, very close to the royal family.
Yeah, because that's what you totally need whenever you have it. Whenever you have a disease that causes your blood to be thin and easily bleed. You're taking a blood thinner. What? That doctor must have been an idiot to like find someone with hemophilia, and prescribing them with aspirin. Why?
But having a crazy homeless wizard man hanging around wasn't a good look for the Tsar, because Rasputin was freaky. Not only was he a big fan of alcohol,
He
but
was a
also
big
threw
old
these crazy
freak.
parties with Russian nobility, where he and all night long, and then he his whole head hypnotic eyes, and nobody knew how the goat got on the roof. Initially, the press were banned from talking about Rasputin, but eventually, the ban was lifted, and the tabloids went to town. The whole thing was a huge scandal.
Goodness.
Everyone was freaked out that this guy was influencing the Tsar and his wife. Nicholas could have spent this period
What a
of relative peace
freak.
improving his image. Instead, he spent it doing this. But as weird as the whole Rasputin thing was,
Rocking
so long as the
sheets with
economy continued to
Rasputin.
improve and the people's lives kept getting better, maybe Nick would be okay. Maybe there would be no more revolutions. Maybe this video could even end right here.
Well, this is the early 20th century, and we all know what happens in the early 20th century.
Or maybe things were about to
Somebody
get
gets a
worse.
cat busted in
lot
their
worse.
ass.
You see, the year is 1914. and that means
1914,
it's
baby.
time for World War I.
Bada boom. Well, that was the first half of the Russian Revolution. Naturally, it didn't start off quite as planned, and our boy Lenin is still stuck over in Europe, waiting for his chance to strike. But things seem to be on a pretty good upswing for Russia. You know, it's just a shame that it was all stamped out into the dirt by two major factors. One, the fact that the Tsar wanted to hook up with a funky homeless wizard man, and also the start of the Great War. Yeah, I'm sure that's going to turn out great for them. Let me know what you thought about all that down in the comments below. What do you think about Tsar Nicholas II? Do you think he deserved to be overthrown? Would you hang out with a freaky homeless man like Rasputin? Let me know in the comments below. And of course, don't forget to don't forget to hit like on the video, subscribe to the channel, and ding that bell so you know when I upload, and it helps me out in the algorithm. And as always, I will see you next time at the HQ. Bye-bye.